Hello and welcome to the Bowtie Gardens. This is Bowtie Dave at the raised garden beds for a little bit of a tour here on February 27th, 2023. This is month 11 of our garden tours. Very excited about that. I wasn't sure if I would be able to keep up the whole year, every month, every year, the whole year. And it's beginning to look like I probably am, especially right now that we're coming out with 1 and 2 videos a day at the moment. So yeah, wow, very exciting. I know how, I remember Jessie over at Plot 37, I remember I've been watching her from the beginning, and it's really interesting because she's in England, totally different growing environment, but I learned stuff from her. And you know, we watch these YouTube channels, whether you're getting inspired or you're actually learning something that applies directly to you. You know, I wouldn't know about SUNCHOKES if it wasn't for her. And she got me turned on to SUNCHOKES year and a half ago, and I got excited about it. And so I went and hunted SUNCHOKES, planted SUNCHOKES, we grew SUNCHOKES. We got a whole playlist on things we cooked with those SUNCHOKES. And I think we still have one more that we want to do. But yeah, so that's something I got from England. And so, you know, if you're looking for information, looking for inspiration, if you're looking for just learning things on gardening, there's so much available on YouTube. It's one of the reasons why I love sharing other channels that I watch, because I find, you know, some people, they have good information, but I just can't understand how they're talking about it. And then someone else says the exact same stuff, and for some reason their personality speaks to me. And don't give up. If you just have a hard time listening to if you have a hard time listening to me, find someone that you can listen to and that you really enjoy listening to. Yeah, I'm just an old fart in a garden, and I have my own personality. It doesn't hurt my feelings that some people don't cotton to my style, and that's fine. Everyone has their own style, and we all live our own stories. And so find someone that you feel comfortable listening to and learn from them. And you know, Jess over at Roots and Refuge, and Luke over at MIgardener, Brian at NextLevelGardening. So many people that I've learned from. I'm going to put links to a few of those channels in the description here at this point in the index, because I've learned so much from so many people, even Edge of Nowhere. I'm in Florida. I'm in a humid, hot environment with sand. Well, Edge of Nowhere is in southern Arizona with sand that's dry and even hotter. And I learned stuff from him. There's things that he does that I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. What if I did this? And I do a little research and do an experiment and discover, hey, that's something I can do, and it works. So yeah, there's so many people out there you can learn from. Don't be afraid to look around on YouTube and find people that you can relate to. Nicole over at FlowerHillFarm, Laura over at GardenAnswer, Jenny over at Creekside Nursery. These are people all over the country that if you just watch their videos, you can't help but learn stuff. You can't help but be inspired. You can't help but get ideas. Oh my goodness, GardenAnswer's been doing this series on submissions of photos of people's gardens on different topics and stuff, and oh, very cool. Some of this actually came from GardenAnswer's series on user submissions. The inspiration for this garden came from several places, but I know that was one of the places that I was like, oh, that's brilliant. And so just don't be afraid to get out there and soak up YouTube. I soak it up every single day. I don't go a day without soaking up what people have. So with no further ado, I know you're just waiting for the garden tour. So let's look and see what we've got in these garden beds now. Hi, I'm Bowtie Dave. So if you watch Gardener Scott, he just did his live stream, like just before recording these last 2 parts of this month's tours. on urban gardening and not raised beds, but container gardening and stuff. And everything I'm doing here comes from my first 2 years of nothing but container gardening. And this is where it's gone, it's grown. So what we have here, let me just give a brief exclamation of the history of these beds. I built these beds about 1.5 years ago. I filled the bottom foot of all 3 of these beds you're about to see with 130 Christmas trees that I chopped up. Christmas trees, so yeah, right after Christmas of year before last. So I'll give you an idea. Actually, that'd be what, 1 year and 2 months ago. Then what I did is actually I dug down because the previous property owner had wonderful soil, had sand in here that he had been putting chicken manure in for years, and so it was this dark sand. Our sand here is all white, but this sand was dark, so we dug all that out, put the Christmas trees, reburied it with the sand, reburied that with a bunch of 130 contractor bags of yard leaves and rakings and sticks and everything else. Then we put it in about a foot and a half of horse bedding compost that was 6 to 20 years old. It was black, rich, beautiful soil. And so yeah, we had it all topped up for last year's growing season. Well, over the season, this thing sunk. Some areas, like that corner over there, this corner right here, it sunk up to 16 inches. It sunk a lot. And so we've refilled this with newer horse bedding compost, not because it was a choice, it's only because that's what we had. And then I've learned from Gardener Scott about soil. I've learned more, and I've actually added back in a couple of few inches of sand, slightly turned it in, and then that dark stuff that's on top right now, that stuff is compost from our bins. Those bins right over there. If you didn't see the last part of the garden tour, you got to go see it. Look at this stuff. It's beautiful. It's all broken down. There's nothing left of it. Well, the little bits of leaves are actually from what was in here, but the compost I shoveled across the top here, I got about 2 inches on the top of all this. That does a few things. It inoculates the soil with life, good life of the microbes and everything else. This soil needs to start breaking down. These wood chips and other things need to start breaking down. So this bed, as of yesterday, is starting to work, and it's starting to feed the soil. And of course, if you feed the soil, you're going to feed your crops. And so now you can actually see it's actually mounded up a few inches. That's going to sink. Looks like maybe 4 or 5 inches above the brick. But there's a lot of stuff mounded up in there. All that was mounded up, and you can see like right there it's a little lower. Well, that's already sunk down. That part over there up to about here was filled earlier, and this higher part was filled more recently. So, and then I've just gotten the irrigation in here, which is why it looks a little weird, just sitting out on top. I've got to come back through like this little tube right here. I need to replace because it's not working. They do get clogged. You got to go in and replace them sometimes. And I'm still learning about drip irrigation, so we'll have to see what happens here. But yeah, so this got irrigated this morning for the first time. So this should be, now right here should not be wet. Well, there's a little moisture in there. There's a little bit, but if I come over here, this should be, well, it's moist. It's not as moist as I would like to see it. So I may need to do a little more maintenance on that drip line. That's the first time I've checked it. A little bit of thyme I planted last year. It's a perennial. It'll stay growing year after year. It did not succumb to our Christmas freeze. So it's doing good. Over here we got some, I think that's some chives still coming up. Is it? Yes, it is. Looky there. We have some chives in here. So I planted these chives. I don't even know what kind I have. I have a seed packet in there so I can figure out exactly what they are and who they're from. But planted those chives early last year, and they are coming back. But look how much the soil has sunk down. This soil was even with the top of this brick. It's, good grief, it's most of my hand down. So, and of course these leaves fell in here naturally, but they're probably the reason why this thing is still growing, because it's maintaining moisture down in that soil. It's not evaporating as fast. It does drain out the bottom. Everything here is free draining out the bottom. Of course, that arbor right there is going to grow cucumbers on, I think, eventually both sides. I might have a first planting and a second planting of cucumbers on this trellis. So coming around to the surprise crop for this bed, my 2 potatoes. What on earth? I don't remember even having potatoes in this part of the garden. I don't know what the deal is. I'm very surprised that these 2 potatoes have just popped up out of the blue. So we're gonna let them go. They volunteered, and we'll let them grow, watch them on the garden tours for the next few months. Once they start dying off, we'll harvest them and have potatoes. Probably plant some more. Plant some of them off into other places. So this will be returned to zinnias, maybe a trailing nasturtium, which I'm really excited about this year. A little spoiler alert. Coming down to the space between bed 1 and 2, we have the peach tree. And the peach tree, I have no idea what kind of peach it is, but you can see it's starting to bloom. Very excited. So it's still alive after the Christmas freeze and after my trimming. In fact, you can see right there is where I trimmed it. And look, there is a new single thing coming out right there, which is kind of cool. All right, so, oh, and this is turmeric. Turmeric for me was slow last year, so I am giving this bag all the opportunity it needs to grow. It's supposed to have turmeric in it though. Should be popping up if it's still alive. All right, bed number 2. First things first. The zombie Brussels sprouts. I call them zombie Brussels sprouts because these were planted from seed 1 year and 2 days ago. That's 367 days ago. It's a $100-day crop. So it has lived 3 times longer than it's supposed to have. What on earth? I'm hoping one of you more experienced gardeners can explain this to me. They stayed very small for the longest time, and then last fall they started to grow, but not very prolifically. And now look at them, they're enormous. And some of these look like they're starting to show signs of development down here on the Brussels sprouts. The Brussels sprouts actually come out right here. This is where they grow, right at the base of each leaf. So yeah, this has been very interesting. There's 4 plants in here. And it's causing a little bit of a problem because I'm supposed to have 2 posts right here, and silly me took them out because I've got another, in fact, that right there, that cattle panel right there is supposed to go from these posts in bed 1 over to these posts in bed 2. So I can grow Kajari melons over here and beans over here. I'm a little frustrated. Happy it's growing, gonna let it keep going. Gonna have to figure that one out though. These beds here, they have sand underneath them. This is the same makeup as bed number 1, except I haven't top dressed with my compost yet. That's the only thing missing from this bed. I'll be pulling this cardboard off and then top dressing, then adding irrigation, and then the last thing is all of it will get wood chips. Every bit of it will get wood chips from the front side driveway. The big pile at the beginning of the first part of this video tour, the zombie pile of wood chips, yeah, that never goes away and appears to keep growing. But there's no irrigation in here right now, which is an error. I should have had some irrigation go in here so it can have some moisture to feed it, but it is covered with this cardboard. The rain comes, it soaks it, and the cardboard keeps things from evaporating. Too bad.
So it is actually kind of moist under there. It's not a total loss. The aloe patch, this was a beautiful aloe patch. Christmas freeze took out a lot of it, but not all of it. I am going to be taking the opportunity to clearing my path in here, trying to get this a little more walkable. Some of these aloe are beautiful when they bloom though, and just a little sad how bad the Christmas freeze took them out. You can see I've cut several off and they were just rotting. So I cut several off, I pulled a number up. That's what's in the compost bin that you saw at the end of the last part. Kind of cross between sad and happy because it's the progress in the garden. I do love these aloe though. They were beautiful. So we're coming around to the pepper bed now. The pepper bed has been top dressed with my compost. Some places better than others, I'm noticing over here right now. I didn't get very good around that spot. I need to come back with a little more. But basically what I'm coming through here and doing is putting an inch or two of compost on everything, giving it some new nutrients, some new biome, all those little things that break down nutrients for the plants to be able to consume. And then the plants should be able to take over. And I see like right over there, that's leaf flower, that's a weed. There's a few weeds. Everything up here is weeds. None of the peppers up in this end. In fact, all these peppers were planted early last year, and I can't tell if that one right there in the middle, I have to investigate that to see if it's actually a pepper coming back. I didn't notice that. While walking around, I remembered I need to show this. This is a Tabasco that I purchased recently and just planted yesterday. But at the other end, so at this end, I'm going to do a very careful excavation here to see if this is growing out from the roots of this pepper or is it a weed? And, oh, I don't know. I cannot tell. I have had peppers send out pups. I'm going to leave it because I still don't know. This is supposed to be a jalapeno traveler. I'm looking at another jalapeno traveler. It looks like the same leaf, but it also looks like the same leaf as this that I know is a weed over here. Yeah, I'm not holding out a lot of hope for that, but I'll let it survive a little longer. Coming around from the low tunnel frame here, I did just take the plastic off of here, which I'm very excited about. No more plastic. We're getting into warmer. Now, granted, this is February 27th. We do still have a chance of cold, but there is nothing in the 10-day forecast. Nothing remotely resembling cold. So I'm betting on the side of removing the plastic. We go into our elephant garlic. Look how massive this elephant garlic is growing. It's huge. It's big around as my thumb. Getting into the music garlic here. Now these will give scapes. These are a hardneck garlic. These will be giving scapes, which I've never had. I've never grown it. What I've grown is this garlic right in here, and this is a softneck garlic. This is Enchilium red. And we grew a bunch of it a couple years ago. Last year we had almost complete failure. And this year we have 153 of 155 planted cloves of garlic growing. Now, interestingly enough, this one elephant garlic, you'll notice there's 2 stems here and maybe a third. I don't know if I just missed breaking apart the clove that badly. Maybe it was 2 cloves put together, I don't know. But they're kind of small, which is not surprising. When you clump them together like that, they're gonna be small. So I'm just letting it go. So on the other side of the garlic, we have this little area right here, which we'll be planting in probably 9 tomatoes, maybe a few more back behind there. Not sure what we're going to be putting on this trellis yet. We'll be putting something here. But we'll be taking out all the bricks that are in here that we separated. Last year we did corn in here, and that was a bit of a failure. So I'm going to try again. Something different. Whole bunch of Goji Berry, though, taken off down here at the end. And I'm hoping this thing can give us some more buds. But it's really looking lush. It does need some clearing out at the bottom down here. It's got some these little purple flower, almost clovery looking things down here. And of course up here above we still have our Yarrow. This is a perennial, flowers year after year. I'm gonna have to get these spread out in a few places. I am very excited about these because I grew these from seed, and Yarrow has been a challenge for me to clear out. Oh, looky, there's a lizard doing his little dance over there. Lizards help to keep the bugs down, of course. They're awesome. And therein lies the raised garden bed tour. Not a lot growing right now, but the soil. A lot of soil growing right now. Almost two complete beds of soil growing and developing and getting ready to be the magic for next year, or this next planting season. And of course this bed down here, we still have a little work to do. Things are happening slowly. Got to get this arch trellis put up. I'm tripping over irrigation tubes everywhere because I've been unwinding it and getting it laid out to where pieces go and all. So got a bit of a mess, but it's the raised garden beds, and we're projecting on. Oh, one thing I did want to show, I forgot. I did put in a couple of pipes up here. I got to get them wired in. The top bean trellis goes in right here where the beans grow up to later in the season. They'll be going across there, but one of the trellis over there on the wood pile has to go there, and then I will be putting in the vertical trellis that the beans will be growing on here pretty soon. So, like I said, progress, things happening. And so, boy, there's a big old bumblebee up there. If I can go up and find that bumblebee up in the front I was talking about in part one, I'm gonna go up and get a quick video of him after this. But yeah, please subscribe. Appreciate you coming along, watching the video. And if you just stumbled along, please subscribe. Don't miss the other parts of this video tour of the garden. And I've been trying to do this every month, and don't miss the next progress, the next little step. And then there's all kinds of other videos of experiments and things I'm doing. Again, this is my own personal journal of what's happening in the garden, so I can know for in the future when my brain forgets, I can search and find what I did, find results to things that happened. So be sure and click the thumbs up on the video. That helps grow the channel and the videos viewership a lot. And of course, if you think this might be educational, informational, or just entertaining for any of your friends on your social media, be sure to share on your social media. There's a share button right here on the video that you can share this directly and let your friends see what's going on and invite them to follow along with the journey. So yeah, here we go. February 27th, another month of garden tours on a sunny February day. It's in the mid 70s right now. Beautiful day out here, 23 degrees Celsius, is that right? It's beautiful. It's a beautiful day out here. And the bees are happy, people are happy. Okay, so I was commenting to someone recently, in fact, this morning on the Gardner Scott weekly Monday live stream. They were talking about, they were in Michigan, and I'm like, well, all this moisture we've got is going up there and feeding their freezing rain. But this sky right here, that cold front is coming just to this sky within view, but it's supposed to be dissipating before it
passes over us. So we don't have any cold weather forecasted for, well, the foreseeable future. I think someone said we might get down to 50 degrees by the end of this week. So when you're seeing this video, a couple days after this video comes out, we might be getting to the low 50s. Yeah. Not quite perpetual summer, but close enough. Anyway, all that being said, thank you for watching. Have a blessed day.